Hello, it's me, Kyron. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another video. If this is your first time, welcome. I am so tired of cisgender people, but especially cisgender heterosexual people, talking about things they not partially, but completely lack any knowledge about. Recently, the neoliberal 1994 crime bill writing President of America proposed an executive order that would allow trans kids to play sports with their preferred gender. I'm no big fan of the man, but I give credit where credit is due. Good on you, Sleepy Joe. If by now you don't know what cis and trans mean, they're prefixes used to describe gender in the modern world. Cisgender just means that when you popped out of the hoo-ha, the doctors looked and pronounced you a boy or a girl, and you're okay with that. Trans people often went through the same thing, but they're not okay with it, so they choose to identify otherwise, be that as a woman, as a man, or somewhere in the middle.
Well, what you want to do is not necessarily what you're gonna do.
But the herpes sore that is cishet hysteria just couldn't help but flare up, and a perfect example of this is by popular YouTubers ABBA and Preach. I don't hate the boys, but they lack the range to tackle this issue. And it showed. They couldn't help but engage in tribalism and gatekeeping cisgender sports from trans people.
Clap if you find it offensive, clap.
To their credit, they attempted to pitch it to their audience as them only caring about the opportunities that might be lost to cisgender girls if trans girls were invited to the cookouts, and if they absolutely dominated it. They were trying to be heroes, very J.K. Rowling, but like her, I'm sorry boys, but you're just absolutely wrong. First things first, there's this thing called HRT, hormone replacement therapy, that many trans people take in order to transition from one gender to the next. In trans women, it introduces more estrogen into the body and essentially feminizes them. Not to mention, trans girls who took puberty blockers never go through male puberty and all that goes with it. I've been through it myself, do not recommend, hair everywhere, I absolutely hate it. There was a point when I think I needed to handle body odor. It was gross. Anyway. ABBA and Preach and people like them don't really care about trans issues. They only care about their tribe, cisgender people, and how unfair it is for cis girls to compete with trans girls because trans girls have a biological advantage. But I love, and by I love, I actually mean I absolutely hate, that we could remember fairness and advantage and whether it's right and it's wrong when it relates to minority groups, but never when it relates to a member of the majority group or the group that is in power. And I have a perfect example of that. Let's look at Michael Phelps. You know Michael Phelps, right? The swimmer, the Olympian. According to the Washington Post, Phelps has a disproportionately vast wingspan and double-jointed ankles which help him to have a stronger kickoff. His body also produces less lactic acid. And if you don't know what lactic acid is, it's when you exercise. I mean, I don't know why you would want to exercise anyway, but I mean, do you? And you don't feel burnt out. It must be great if you're a competitive athlete and other athletes you're competing with don't have this biological advantage, right?
So let's set the record straight. Thank you.
Oh, the Olympic Committee praised him for being so lucky. Oh, okay, cool, I understand. I would put my head on a block that cisgender people are only in uproar about this because they might potentially lose to someone that they didn't really expect to. If trans women were losing every single race, I don't think it would matter. But to win a few races or to win a few games or whatever it is, the absolute audacity, being exceptional like Michael Phelps, who is genetically predisposed to being exceptional in this case, is only okay for people from that group. If you're not from that group, well, something is wrong with you and it's not fair. And I'm sorry to say it, but that's transphobia at work. Now, to be fair, I do kind of understand your fears if I don't think about it very hard, like you obviously didn't. I'm 6'2" and
I do not want to comment.
pounds. So let's say I came out as trans and tomorrow, which is like the next day after coming out as trans, I decide I want to be a wrestler and I want to wrestle cisgender women. I've never taken any hormones. I'm not on HRT. There's absolutely nothing. I just decided, you know, I'm going to identify as a woman and I want to compete with cisgender women. Now, it's possible that I might fight cisgender women and I might actually win. I mean, I don't know. I actually don't have any muscles, so I'll probably lose. But, yeah, it's very possible that something like that could happen. But, surprise, surprise. There really isn't precedent for that.
I would like to see it.
And even double surprise, a lot of athletic organizations and schools already have regulations in place. And even if they don't, maybe as a cisgender heterosexual person who is concerned about this issue, just maybe you should be approaching them as opposed to putting more trauma into the lives of trans people who just want to live their lives, especially trans children.
Bitch, shut up.
Thank you so much for listening to me today. I was really busy doing other things and I just didn't have time to film, but I really wanted to talk about this issue. Please like, share, and subscribe. And watch all of my other videos if you haven't. I have a lot of different content and hopefully I'll have another video up soon. Bye bye.